Stop blaming your gut. If you've been doing everything right, more salads, more whole grains, more chia, yet you still feel bloated, gassy, or just off, there's a reason that isn't your willpower. For years, medical science has told us the secret to a healthy gut is fiber, and fiber is absolutely important. But what if that's only half the story? New research is revealing something remarkable. There's another category of food beyond fiber that can rebuild your gut microbiome faster and more powerfully than we ever thought possible. This matters because your gut is more than digestion. It functions like a second brain, it trains your immune system, and it influences your mood every single day. In this video, we'll explore the evidence and then turn it into practical steps you can use immediately. I'm Dr. Pradip Jamnadas, and my mission is to share health knowledge in a way that helps real people. If you've ever felt the frustration of eating healthy but still not feeling your best, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. And don't forget to hit like and subscribe, because you'll definitely want to hear what comes next. Before we get to the breakthrough, we need a foundation. Our current approach and intense focus on one nutrient is well-intentioned, but often incomplete. Simply eating more fiber can help. Yet, for many people, it's not enough to truly heal a struggling gut. To understand why, stop thinking of your digestive tract as a simple pipe and start thinking of it as a complex, living ecosystem. Item 1 is the role of fiber. Let me be perfectly clear. I am not here to demonize fiber, not in the slightest. Fiber remains one of the most important nutrients for gut health and overall health. For decades, science has celebrated it for good reason. Fiber, especially from vegetables, fruits, legumes, and whole grains, acts as a prebiotic. Think of prebiotic as food for life. Your stomach and small intestine can't fully break many fibers down, so that undigested fiber travels to your large intestine where most of your gut microbes live. For them, that fiber is a feast. They ferment it for energy, and in the process, they create beneficial compounds called short-chain fatty acids. You may have heard of the most famous one, butyrate. Butyrate is a superstar molecule. It is a primary fuel source for the cells that line your colon. It supports the integrity of your gut barrier, making it less likely that unwanted particles leak into the bloodstream. And it has powerful anti-inflammatory effects not only in the gut, but throughout your body. So picture your microbiome as a garden. Fiber is premium organic fertilizer. It helps the plants that are already there grow stronger, healthier, and more vibrant. Without it, the garden struggles to thrive. That is a fact we should honor. But here's the frustrating question. If fiber is such good fertilizer, why do so many people who increase fiber salads daily, seeds in everything, still struggle with bloating, gas, unpredictable digestion, or the feeling that something isn't right? The answer isn't the fertilizer. The answer is the condition of the garden itself. And that's where we go next. In the next section, we'll look at what modern life has done to that inner garden processed foods: sugar, chronic stress, poor sleep, and antibiotics, and why they can wipe out helpful bacteria while letting weeds take over. Once you see that imbalance clearly, you'll understand why more fiber can sometimes backfire, and why the real solution must include something that brings new life, not just more fuel inside. So let's talk about the unbalanced garden. The answer to that "why am I still suffering?" question is not the quality of the fertilizer. It's the current state of the soil and what's already growing there. The modern world has been brutal to our internal ecosystem. A diet high in processed foods and added sugar, chronic stress, poor sleep, and the frequent or unnecessary use of antibiotics can act like toxins in the garden. They don't just weaken the good plants, they can wipe them out. And when that happens, the system doesn't stay empty for long. When beneficial microbes are reduced, the ecosystem loses diversity. In their place, more aggressive strains can take over certain bacteria and yeasts that thrive in an unhealthy environment. In medicine, this imbalance has a name: dysbiosis. And dysbiosis sits underneath so many modern complaints, from irregular bowel habits to food sensitivities, fatigue, and even immune system confusion. Now bring back the garden image. Imagine a yard that has been neglected for years. Weeds are everywhere. Only a few weak plants are still alive. The soil is depleted and chaotic. If you walk into that garden and dump on a giant bag of the best fertilizer in the world, what happens next? The weeds do not politely step aside. The weeds, because they are already dominant and aggressive, soak up the fertilizer and explode. They grow faster, thicker, and more invasive. The chaos is not solved, it's amplified. This is what can happen inside the gut. If your microbiome is already in dysbiosis, with an overgrowth of unhelpful microbes and a shortage of beneficial ones, suddenly flooding the system with large amounts of fermentable fiber can end up feeding the dominant weeds. Those microbes ferment the fiber aggressively and produce excess gas that can lead to bloating, cramping, and discomfort. In other words, you may be fertilizing the very problem you're trying to fix. This is why some people with conditions like irritable bowel syndrome or IBS feel worse on a high-fiber diet. It's not because fiber is bad. It's because their garden is not ready for that much fertilizer all at once. The ecosystem needs to be rebuilt, not just fed. And this leads to a profound conclusion. Fiber is an excellent nourisher, but it has a hard limitation. It can only feed the life that is already there. Fiber does not on its own introduce new species. It cannot plant new flowers or restore a missing forest. It can strengthen existing microbes, but it cannot single-handedly rebuild lost diversity. And diversity, many different strains working together, is the hallmark of a resilient, healthy gut. So if fertilizer alone isn't enough for a weed-filled garden, what is? We need something that can reseed the ecosystem. We need a way to bring in new beneficial organisms, to crowd out the weeds, and to restore balance from the ground up. And this is where the breakthrough solution comes in: the incredible power of living probiotics. Notice how this changes the story you tell yourself. Many people think, I must be failing, when the real issue is biology. When dysbiosis is present, the gut lining can become irritated, signaling the nervous system and the immune system at the same time. That's why the same person can have digestive symptoms and also feel anxious, foggy, or run down. Your gut communicates with your brain through nerves, hormones, and immune signals. So an inflamed garden doesn't stay local. It can influence energy, mood, and even sleep and cravings. And that's why fixing the microbiome is not cosmetic wellness. It's a core strategy for long-term health and resilience for everyone. Now we can explore the breakthrough solution, the incredible power of living probiotics. If fiber is the fertilizer, how do we plant new seeds in the garden? How do we restore diversity that has been lost? The answer is both scientifically cutting edge and beautifully ancient. It's a category of foods our ancestors relied on for millennia, long before anyone owned a supplement bottle. The answer is fermented foods. Fermented foods are foods transformed by beneficial microbes. When you eat them, you are not just consuming nutrients, you are consuming living organisms. And that is a completely different lever in biology. This is not just a theory either. It's now supported by rigorous research. One of the most influential pieces of evidence came from a